Blog Talk Radio.
All right, hello and welcome, my friends, to the latest episode of Songs of Selah here on 17 Numa Radio through Blog Talk Radio. I want to welcome everyone this evening. First show that I've done here in 2019. So happy New Year to everyone. Hope that 2019 is off to a good start, inspired and peaceful, and all that good stuff. If this is the first time that you've tuned in for an episode of Songs of Selah, I just want to mention quickly that archives of all the past episodes are available here on Blog Talk Radio or at my website, 17numa.com. So I urge everyone to go check out some of the past guests, including authors such as Heath Brocker, Don Biaquez, Donna Snyder, Dustin Pickering, Z.M. Wise, and many, many others. And looking forward to some future guests that have been lined up here recently. Going to have Adam Levon Brown on the show next week on January 28th, and working to get Matt Borkson scheduled for a future episode, as well as Paul Brooks. So a lot of good things coming up here right around the bend. But enough about the future for now. Want to jump right into things and say that tonight I'm happy to have on Red Focks and Jay Miner, who are the founders of Alien Buddha Press, and they're going to be joining us shortly to talk about the founding of the press, what inspired them to dive into the small press world, talking about their own work, reading a few poems, and then hopefully in the second hour we're going to have the phone lines open up for anyone that is interested in calling in and reading a few poems of your own. The number here at the studio is 646-668-8757, and I'll mention that again periodically throughout the show and before we go live to the phones. So here, before I bring on Red and Jay, I want to give a brief intro about Alien Buddha Press. It was founded in early 2017 to provide an exciting platform for an eclectic mix of artists to be seen and heard. At this point, they already have over 100 different books in print. There have been 3 issues of their poetry anthology, as well as the short story anthology called Tales from the Alien Buddha. They've put out numerous issues of a graphic novel series called American Anti-Hero, and they're now into the second issue of their Zine as well. Many other anthologies have come out. They've been putting on readings up in Erie, Pennsylvania, and they have a Facebook group and a YouTube channel where much more of their work can be found. They're also on Twitter. And we're going to be talking about all that and much more coming up here in the next hour. So without much further ado, let me say hello to Jay and Red. You guys there?
Hey, how's it going, Scott?
Doing very well, thank you.
What's up?
Oh, not much. Thanks for joining me tonight, guys.
Not a problem.
So, where to begin? I guess in the beginning, what in the world caused you guys to start up a small press? How'd you meet? And what was the original idea? Got this thing rolling.
I think we met up Facebook groups regarding poetry and art. I think we met in the Pressure Press Presents group, right, Jay?
Yeah, that's correct.
Really cool network of artists and poets around us, and at some point we kind of had the same idea, hey, let's start a publishing press. There's a lot of good ones. We have a really good network built around us, and I'm glad we did it, because to this day we put out a lot of really cool books.
Yeah, y'all's catalog just grows exponentially. Seems like a lot of
If you want to hear a funny story, I can sorry. If you want to hear a funny story, I can take it back even farther than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was really kind of weird how the whole thing came about, because it was like not intentional initially. I kind of threw out the term alien Buddha in one of my books and completely forgot about it. And somebody else brought up that term to me, and she said, that's a really cool term. So I started writing a bunch of haikus about that, and it kind of like became this thing. And right around that same time, I just happened to mention, like coincidentally, to Mark Hartenbach, because he was posting a lot of really cool stuff, and I knew he hadn't published in a while. So I asked him. I said, Mark, when are you gonna publish something again? And he said, oh man, this is such a small press, like punk rock thing. It was such a punk rock small press response. He goes, oh man, my publisher, he's in jail for trying to kill some dude. Like, oh, so, and Ron and Joel saw that conversation, and he just happened to say, well, why don't you do it? And so I agreed to do it. And then Ron just happened to mention to me, well, you should name your press. And right around that same time, Red approached me about doing the graphic novel series, American Antihero, which I agreed to work with him on. And then he also coincidentally mentioned, well, why don't we start a press to put it out on, and maybe we can publish other people too. And I said, well, why don't we do Alien Buddha Press together, call it Alien Buddha Press, and do it together. That way I don't have to try to run two different presses here at the same time. So, it was really kind of a unique, ironic, and coincidental series of events.
I love the boiled down answer, because Mark Hartenbach's old publisher murdered somebody.
He either did or he tried to. That's what I recall. But either way.
So the haikus have seemed to take on a life of their own since that point. Some pretty crazy stuff comes out of that series you do.
Well, that was something that just I was doing way back before it even was a press. And then what was wild was maybe about a month or two ago, Red resurrected that in the group for everybody. And
Comes to Jesus.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Jay put out Alien Buddha Comes to Jesus, and I thought that was hilarious. So that was like a solo book he put out. So just recently we did Alien Buddha Comes to Jesus too, and we had a lot of our featured artists chiming in, writing little haikus with Alien Buddha in it, and it came out great.
Saw that also.
Yeah, and those of us that were in.
Go ahead.
And those of us that were in Erie got to this last time got to read them live, so that was kind of cool too.
In Erie, yeah, Ember and Forge in Erie, Pennsylvania. We've done a few live reads there. I did not get to make it to any of them personally. I didn't make it out there from Phoenix, but a lot of the artists and writers we work with just happen to live in or around Erie, Pennsylvania, we found. So, Ember and Forge is a nice little coffee shop in Erie, and they've hosted a few of our shows.
Those have been a lot of fun to watch. I know you've got some of them up on your YouTube channel. And pretty cool little spot up there in Erie. A lot of good people. Matt Orzon and his brother up there, and Dacia.
Luke Kuzmich, Jeremy Stoltz. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the way that whole
thing
all got going on that. In May of this past year, 2018, when Luke did his release on our label, he had a release party / reading there at Ember and Forge, and that's what got the ball rolling on that. Because they were really
Hollywood.
Yeah, and they were really cool. They were really easy to work with. So from there, we had the idea, well, let's do more of them, because there's a lot of people that we're associated with that are either, like Red said, either in Erie or other parts of Pennsylvania that can, make the drive a couple hours away. So we've ended up doing a bunch of them there. And then also, too, Tajan kind of helped get the ball rolling on the YouTube videos, because her husband has a really good video camera. He's got some pretty good videographer skills. Also, the PA and the mic, they graciously donated those pieces of equipment to the shows, and that makes the videos a lot better and a lot easier. So once she was able to turn over some of those videos to me, I was able to get those up on YouTube. And I also did some individual shots on this last one, just with my camera phone, just sitting right in front of the person.
Is there another of those events lined up anytime in the near future?
There is not just yet. We were considering doing one on 420, though.
That would be sick.
Well, that would coincide perfectly with this new anthology I saw that y'all are calling for submissions on currently. The Alien Buddha Gets High or something along those lines.
This one time the Alien Buddha got so high.
Yeah. What's the status on that one?
Yeah, we've already got maybe close to a dozen contributors, and we're still taking submissions for that until the January 25th. And yeah, we got some great. I'm starting every chapter with like Jay just sent one about. He sent me a story about how he licked a toad and got really high. So that chapter is this one time Jay Minor got so high on toad, and then all the chapters are like that. But it's in addition to just of course we're gonna do funny drug stories. I'm also encouraging people to share stories about rehabilitation and the ugly side of addiction, and I'm happy to say I've gotten a few subs like that.
That's cool. Yeah, it could have the whole arc feel to it. Okay, so any other projects in the works right now?
In the next couple of days, we're going to have a couple releases. We're going to have Christine Tabaka's chapbook, No More Hallelujahs. And I've got one coming out by Stefan Bowden, La Machine Divine, the God Machine in English, that is. And he's got art with Hiva Mosaid illustrated that one. And that Selah Radisikun translated half the book from English into Spanish, so that one should be great.
Awesome. Yeah, that Selah's wonderful with all the translations she does for people. Big shout out to her.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What about the American Anti-Hero? Is there a new issue of that one around the corner?
The American Anti-Hero, what we did, it started off as 4 little books, and then we turned the 4 little books into one really long book. So that first one, the first canon, equaled the first book that in the series. If you're going to read the series, that first long one is like the official story, and it's been on hold for a few months. My old laptop crashed and it had all that stuff on it. I kind of had to take a few steps backwards on that one, but I do plan on continuing it later this year. And yeah, Mike Zone has helped me write that. Jay's helped me write part of that. Amy Romero, my wife, has done a lot of the illustrations and helped write some of that. And yeah, it's I'm really happy with that. The first one was 3 years in the making, so I'm not trying to rush the second one either.
Right. Makes sense. And you guys have got Alien Buddha has design out. What do you going on to issue 3 now. Just
the magazine, yes, yeah. Yeah, and we're taking submissions for that one until February 1st.
And people can find.
I have not put
guide.
much of that one together yet because I'm working on the on the drug one and some other independent solo projects people have. But once I get Alien Buddha Got So High out, I'm going to be focusing more on the zine number 3, and we also have Tales from the Alien Buddha 4, which you've been in at least 1 or 2 of the former Tales from the Alien Buddha, right, Scott?
Yeah, I had short stories in I think the first 2, or maybe the second and third.
Cool.
But yeah, I've got both those on my shelf here. Some good stuff, wild stuff in those. Wanted to switch gears maybe just for a minute. I know both of you guys are photographers and artists in your own right, and I've been wanting to talk to you, Red, about the one trip that you had hitchhiking through Slab City, because we used a series of those photographs in one of the books I released through Alien Buddha, and just wondering if you could talk a little bit about what that adventure was like, traveling through that area, and the process of taking pictures while doing so.
So that was a gnarly trip. I remember coming in through Nyland, California. I got dropped off by an 18-wheeler. Actually, I think they picked me up somewhere in Mexicali, and they brought me all the way up through Nyland. I camped out in the desert that night. I got on the back of a pickup truck the next morning. I was hitchhiking and taking pictures the whole time. And once I got to Nyland, I just saw a couple dirty kids just hanging out, and they pointed me the way. I traded them a copy of my book for a copy of Into the Wild. I can't remember the name of the author of Into the Wild, but I read that whole weekend. But yeah, once I got down there, it's they have East Jesus, and that is the art district of Slab City, which is I've heard it referred to as the last free town in America, and it is. There's they have a little library, but that's just like it's like a little shack that a few people just run, and you just go, you drop off books, you pick up books. There's no cops, there's no nothing, just a little community of people bartering drugs for books.
I can actually give you some of the legal history on that place if you want.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, absolutely.
How that place? I've been there too. I got a lot of photographs through there. I actually day tripped from Vegas in an automobile, so my travels there aren't as exciting. But yeah, I mean, the way that place is able to exist. The land technically belongs to the state of California. I think it's the state of California Teachers Union Pension Fund. They own the land, but it used to be a military base. And at some point, the military left there, and squatters started moving in. And this was like in the 1950s or the 1960s. So they've been there for so long, they have squatters' rights, and they can't be kicked out. So they basically just created their own off-the-grid, unsanctioned town in the middle of the desert. And nobody's doing anything about it.
It's pretty wild to me that they allow, even though they have those rights as the squatters, that they haven't done anything about it out in California with the laws out there. Because especially because I've seen documentaries on it now, and it being in that movie Into the Wild, you think all that sort of spotlight getting put on them, that's cool that they still let them do their thing out there for now.
Yeah, I don't know if their numbers are part of it. Because especially during the winter when the snowbirds come, the numbers in that place really swell. So I just don't know if maybe it's just not worth their while to try to kick everybody out of there.
Yeah, maybe they'd rather have the vagrants in Slab City than in than San Francisco or LA.
City. Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's the other side of it. I'm surprised they haven't rounded everyone up and just sent them there in that case.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't rounded us all up and turned the Walmart parking lots into FEMA camps, but I think that's coming.
It's coming. That gets me into a question I want to ask Jay about your gas mask, wearing that in videos. Is that some sort of ominous prophecy of Armageddon that you're putting in there?
Yeah, I think maybe subconsciously it is. Yeah. I thought it would be funny to wear it for some of the YouTube videos, so I started doing it, and then Taja mentioned it to me, so I did it at the last reading in Erie. But it's also it's a theme. It's I'm working on a novella right now called Photos of the Apocalypse. So obviously it's a very apocalyptic story, and there's a lot about gas masks in there. And in fact, Marcel Herms drew the cover for me, and he's got a lot of gas mask images on that front cover image.
Very cool, man. That sounds like a cool project. Marcel Herms worked on a lot of y'all's books at this point, and a lot of the anthologies. How that meeting come to take place, and getting him to collaborate on so many projects?
The man from Amsterdam.
I think initially we might have found him through Matt Porkson, because they were friends on Facebook, and we just started seeing some of his images and just, I think, invited him to the group, started working with him, and then kind of made him a quasi-official member.
Yeah.
His work is very striking, and it seems to be quite prolific with it too. The amount of
I think even a few authors have come our way and said, "Hey, I see Marcel Herms does some of your cover art," and I think that's even attracted a few people to Alien Buddha Press. Yeah, definitely. His work matches a lot of the writing that gets thrown around.
What's the process?
Madness.
Yeah, it's got that abstract quality to it, but then there's also there's clarity in there too, though. So it works on
a lot of depth. Yeah.
It's really striking work.
And then we kicked off that one series with him as well. Masks Are Not Enough, etc. Yeah, the trilogy we've had Masks Are Not Enough, and I believe that was also Matt Borkson's idea originally. Marcel takes 10 pictures, and 10 different writers write one poem to each of his illustrations. And we've had the first one, and then we had Masks Still Aren't Enough. And then sometime later this year, it's the third of the trilogy is going to be out.
What's the best place for people to connect with Alien Buddha? Is it the Facebook group primarily, or is there a website they can check out for submission guidelines on all these different projects we're talking about?
We got a WordPress page, and we're also on Twitter. But yeah, the Facebook page is a good spot to find us. Our email, abuddhapress@yahoo.com. That's HA. Some people, oh, I tried to send. Did you say AH or HA? Oh, okay. One sec. Yeah.
All right. So, taking another step back, just getting into a more general question here. Was both of y'all's introduction to poetry itself and your own writing? How did that process come about? Was that go back to school, or is it after school? How you really got into the arts?
Poetry, I would say, probably after school. I've been a fiction writer as long as I can remember. I remember getting in trouble. I'd write these little stories, and they were hilarious, but my parents and teachers didn't think so.
Stifling creativity.
Right. Poetry, probably just maybe 5-6 years ago, I branched out into poetry, writing that way.
And then, what about you, Jay?
Well, I actually started with with fiction initially too. I remember being a little bit of a cut up in high school, where if we were given an assignment to write a story, I would write the teacher of that class into the story. And I went to a Catholic school, so like one of the main characters in the story would be Sister Psycho or something like that. And I'd actually be quoting that person. So I would do the satire. She actually thought that was really funny, though, so that was pretty cool. But after that, I took one creative writing class in college, which was largely a waste of time. But I met some other people that wanted to start a zine. So that was what started kind of my foray into the small presses and publishing and stuff like that. That was a good format for us to be able to publish our own stuff, get other people involved too. And I ended up doing most of that zine by myself, actually. But this was the 90s, so it was all handmade, saddle stitch style, handmade paper zines. I would get small businesses to purchase ads for very cheap in there, and that would give me a couple of bucks to be able to make a bunch of copies. And then I would just go around town and just leave them wherever I could leave them, people to pick them up for free. So it was kind of the way of doing it, at that time, before the internet and print on demand and all that stuff. But
Guerrilla Style. What was the name of that zine, the original one that you did?
Oh, yeah. It was called The Rebel's Advocate. Did 6 issues. And I don't know if it's still on Amazon, but some used bookstore was trying to sell a copy of it on Amazon for $100. Good luck.
Where do you get in on that deal?
Yeah, good luck. Yeah, I want my $50 at least. But that just led to a bunch of other stuff. I met some musicians at the time that they started their own small record label, and so I ended up on like a compilation CD with them. Ended up putting out a cassette on that record label, and this guy Mike Basinski at University of Buffalo Libraries, a collection. They collect small press books. He sent me a letter one day and just said, I came across this zine, wanted to include it in the libraries. And through him, he's the one who turned me on to people in the small presses. And again, this was back during the print days. He ended up turning me on to people like Ron Androla and Mark Hartenbach. And then when the internet explosion happened, I ended up finding a lot of those same people on the internet years later. And then it just kind of all spiraled from there.
That's pretty cool. So were you up in New York or Buffalo during that time?
Yes, I was.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I guess that carries into another topic to bring up here. That is, you helped found Alien Buddha along with Red, and now he's sort of taken on the reins of Alien Buddha, and you're going to be moving on and have started up the launch of Rust Belt Press. Do you want to maybe comment a bit on that and how that transition is working?
Yeah, no, it's going well. I just decided that I wanted to, build something new, try something new, kind of, do my own thing, and taking a lot of the things that I learned doing Alien Buddha Press over to Rust Belt Press. It's exciting. I think it's a win-win for everybody because Red can kind of just strictly 100% do things his way with Alien Buddha. I can do the same thing with Rust Belt, and I think it's a win-win for everybody else too because now there's 2 outlets. There's another
right.
new small press now. So
yeah, and I noticed you got a killer. One of your first titles is going to be great. Arkeith. It's what is it? Flop. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's Arkeith put out a Vispo and a scenic writing book for us, and he's also put out another little poetry book from us too. He's brilliant. That's a great start.
Yeah, and I was really fortunate too to come across a visual artist who, coincidentally enough, lives in the Buffalo area too, although I've never met him in person. But his name is James Maj. Last name is spelled M-A-J. And he's a really killer visual artist that, I was friends with him on Facebook already, but I got him into the group. I got him posting some stuff and came across some really killer illustrations of his. And he's been really cool about donating them to the first book cover. That's going to be on Arkeith's book, and also the first zine cover. And those are the first two projects that I'm working on right now.
And where should people go primarily to get in the loop with Rust Belt Press and find out more about the projects you're working on?
Yeah, so I obviously just got that up and running, so all of the outlets that I will eventually be on are not set up just yet, but we do have a Facebook page, Rust Belt Press. We've got a Facebook group under the same name, Twitter account, Instagram, and the email would be rustbeltpressandreview@gmail.com.
Right on. And yeah, I mean, I agree with what you are saying. You never have too many outlets and presses when it comes to indie presses.
No, absolutely.
More good stuff spread around.
I'm actually trying to make it a point in our running zines. I'm trying to feature a different small press or publishing house in each one. And I think in number 3 we were talking about maybe 17 Numa being on there. Definitely want to have Rust Belt Press featured down the line as well.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
the first one we did was Madness Muse Press. I did an interview with Adam Levon Brown from Madness Muse Press, and they do a lot of really cool like activism type writing. That's another really good one.
Yeah, Madness Muse does a lot of cool stuff with their anthologies and their blog. Actually, Adam's going to be on as a guest here next Monday, the 28th. And
cool.
Maybe if he's out there listening, we'll call in next hour and read a few poems. What's next up? What's the main focus for 2019 for Alien Buddha?
Well, as I mentioned, the zines. I'm probably trying to put out a minimum of 8 of those zines in 2019, if not once a month, once every couple at least. And I'm really liking these like concept anthologies we've been doing lately. But we also did Where in the World is the Alien Buddha recently, which featured each featured artist was from a different country. That was really fun to do. It was a very unique title. So I'm liking the idea of coming up with different concept anthologies.
All right, very cool. I wanted to talk a little bit to both of y'all about your thoughts on the publishing process itself and working with what was CreateSpace, and then that transitioned into the Amazon Kindle. And I know that maybe both of y'all transitioned over to Lulu after that, and just sort of what the thought process behind all that is and working with those different platforms.
A lot of the times the artist or writer will specifically have a need to be on Amazon or KDP, and I understand that. My preference, I like Lulu. If I can make it work on Lulu, I like them. And it kind of just, it goes outside of my thoughts on just the publishing, and Amazon and they're too big. They're just too big. I like dealing with the smaller, more personal touch that Lulu has. You call up Lulu to ask them about something, and the person you're talking to just it seems like something. It's a lot more personal than Amazon, which is they're the biggest company in the world. It's not even almost or an exaggeration. They're the biggest company in the world, and it just kind of takes a little bit of the personal touch out of it sometimes.
Which is something even more important when you're collaborating directly with the authors and working in these sort of underground guerrilla style. The personal touches definitely shine through, so I can understand or having that personal connection with the platform itself is a big deal. Instead of getting some bots on the phone or flagging you with everything you try to do.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So what are your thoughts? Going Rust Belt, Jay?
Well, I mean, based on my experiences with when it was CreateSpace, CreateSpace, Amazon, and then they transitioned to KDP, we didn't know, what that was going to mean. There were some downsides to that transition, and we had been talking, based on some of our bad experiences with CreateSpace, we had been talking about checking out some of the competitors anyway, Lulu primarily, and so that kind of forced our hand. We decided to, hey, let's check it out. Let's, put one title on there. I think Red put one of his on there kind of as a test run, and we really liked it a lot. So for me, transitioning over to Rust Belt Press, I'm actually pretty much going to be exclusively on Lulu. So that's built into the agreements that the other writers sign. We do have that understanding. If they want to do global distribution to where the printing platform will be through Lulu, but it can still show up on Barnes & Noble, it can still show up on Amazon, so people will still have that global distribution. But, starting out with Lulu primarily is really a strong preference of mine. I mean, they're a lot easier to work with. Their website's a lot easier to work with. They actually pay a little bit better. And I really like the fact that they actually have a highlight page that you can set up to essentially be a store. So all your titles will be in one place, along with a biography, photos. You can put your logo up there. So it's really nice and really easy to work with.
Very cool.
Yeah. There's a couple downsides, but I agree the upsides for Lulu are stronger for me. I noticed they don't they have 8.5 by 11 and 6 by 9. I don't think they have an 8 by 10 size. So that was one step back I had with Lulu, and they're also weird with embedded fonts sometimes, but it's a lot of times you just have to figure out what's going on, and if you're not racing against a deadline or a release date or anything, you could figure it out.
And do y'all put out digital books as well, or is it print only?
We put out physical books, yeah. I prefer paperback to the ebook, to be honest.
So let's talk
but you're
about
still doing some ebooks on request, though, right? On KDP.
Yes.
If the author wants it, yeah. Yeah. See, now for me, I'm not a fan of doing the ebook. I'm especially not a fan of setting up the ebook on KDP or Lulu. And I mean, to me, if I'm going to go with Lulu, it's not gonna be on a Kindle anyway, because Kindle is for Amazon ebook purchases. So I mean, when you purchase an ebook through Lulu, you're actually purchasing a PDF. So the way I look at it is, I can sell PDFs directly myself. So
right.
If there's a request for PDF copies, we can get those out there, because I do understand. I mean, that does save people money. on buying
That's
a physical copy and having it shipped. So we'll make that option available.
Yeah. Good for having that too, just to send out for reviews and
absolutely
that sort of thing. So what we're taking another step back here, just sort of getting back to your personal development as artists. Like, talk about maybe some influences growing up, music and movies wise. They got y'all going. Maybe start with
I think me and Jay are both actually big fans of the mobster movies and the heist movies and the crime movies, right? All that kind of stuff. Goodfellas and
oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And poetry wise, Bukowski. I love Bukowski. He's that old angry man. Huge George Carlin fan. I read all of George Carlin's books growing up. Probably like my favorite writer by far, George Carlin. I know he's known as a comedian, but he's also just like a brilliant author. We share a birthday.
There you go. Well, yeah, he was just such a thinker, philosopher, really. He just happened to also be funny.
Right.
Before I started reading any literary stuff, I got my hands on the Anarchist Cookbook. And they actually referenced and quoted Henry Miller, I think it was, and William Burroughs in that book. But they quoted like a bunch of different beat writers from the Beat Generation, and that caused me to check out Henry Miller and William Burroughs, who are pretty unconventional. I mean, when you've come from a perspective of only reading institutionally approved books in grade school and high school and things like that, and then all of a sudden you get your hands on the Anarchist Cookbook and you start reading Henry Miller and William Burroughs, it's definitely a game changer.
Yeah, I can
I've heard they put you on a list if you try to order that book now.
Yeah, I ordered it a long time ago, though. I mean, this was before the internet, so I don't know that that they had that technology at the time. I mean, this was like mail order. This was like mail order, so yeah.
I think there's an algorithm through the telephone lines that if you even mention it, you're on a list at this point. So voice recognition. We were all just
have you guys ever tried DMT?
I have not.
Shows up. I've never tried it straight. Salvia, I guess, has it in it. But why? Where do you want to meet? Let's take this show to the next.
You can throw me some in the mail if you feel so inclined.
Cue the Terrence McKenna lecture.
I like Terrence McKenna.
Yeah, I went through a definite phase where he would sort of sing me lullabies to sleep at night. Going down those rabbit holes. Jay, I wanted to ask you, you're talking about that original design you did back in the day. Are there any thoughts, like going back old school and doing things by hand with any projects at Rust Belt?
That's a good question. I mean, it'd be interesting, especially from a maybe even from like a kind of a fiscal perspective, because might be able to kind of put that together pretty cheaply and, not only distribute it by hand, but also, now with the internet and other technologies, be able to distribute it online. So it's a thought. I mean, and that's another thing with Lulu is they've got a bunch of different types of, physical setups, and they even do saddle stitching. Which you can produce more cheaply than true binding. So, I know I haven't really thought about it that much, but it's definitely worth kind of keeping in the back of our minds. Well, the other problem these days, though, too, is copy stores are kind of going by the wayside. When back in the day that was a big thing. You'd go to a Kinko's and crank it out overnight.
Yeah.
Mm.
There's no copy stores anymore. Where the hell are they?
Yeah.
Everybody's got to have their own do-it-themselves printer or computer.
Yeah, you got a copy machine / fax machine printer at home, so not as much.
Don't
demand.
forget about your local library.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, that's another question actually. Is there any plans for Alien Buddha or Rust Belt to try and get some books into libraries, or has that already happened in some cases?
It has happened. Laura Weddle and Leo F. Weddle, Jeff Weddle's parents, I published both of them in 2018, and their book is sitting in their local library.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I'm thinking about possibly trying to get into some local libraries, but I also want to look at cornering the local bookstore market too at some point.
Definitely get that word of mouth out. Any other than the Erie readings that you've been doing, are there any thoughts of maybe doing readings there in Arizona or up in Buffalo where you guys live?
Phoenix is not the most art-oriented city. I know some of the surrounding cities around here, Mesa, Tempe, they might be a little better. Phoenix, there's not much of an art scene in Phoenix, but I would definitely be willing. It'd be interesting. It would be fun for sure.
What's the city that Maynard James Keenan lives in there in Arizona? Seems like that.
Jerome, yeah,
that's right. It seems like would be like the ideal place to do something like that. They've got like a whole Renaissance culture going on there. Saw a documentary on them. But what about up in Buffalo there, Jay?
It's a possibility. I think there's a little bit of a better scene up here than there would be in Phoenix. But, we like I said, we started doing the Erie thing just because there were already so many people that we were associated with there. There's not as much happening. I was talking to Jason Baldinger about this at the last Erie reading because he's from Pittsburgh, and he's gotten around to all three of those cities, Pittsburgh, Erie, and Buffalo, and we can't quite figure out why, but Buffalo isn't the best spot for it either. There's actually a lot of slam poetry, which is a completely different scene, and I mean not something that we're really into.
Slam poetry is definitely a different scene. I cannot understand for the life of me how these people remember all those words that they spit out.
Yeah, I read at the New Eurekans Poet Cafe down in the Lower East Side on Manhattan. And I went in there thinking, okay, I'm going to read my poetry, and all the other people are in front of me going up, and I'm just like, whoa. But I do it anyways, and I get up there, I'm holding my beer, and they're like, they're seeing me come up there holding my beer like, this motherfucker, But, I did it anyways, and, it was kind of fun. But, yeah, slam poetry is definitely is a whole nother animal for sure.
Yeah.
Well, you can see it in our one video, the video on the YouTube channel from Luke Kuzmich's reading in Erie. The one guy got up there, Keith Moses. He's a local Erie guy, and that's what he does, and he's actually very good at it.
There's definitely an art to it. A lot of emotion behind it. I don't know if I even mentioned this to either of y'all before we came on, but did y'all bring anything to read? Some of your own work?
Ooh.
By any chance?
I
forgot.
I can almost remember one of the first poems I ever wrote, because it might be one of my best, and I'm going to try to recite it for you line for line right now, or I might fuck up, but here it goes.
All
Karma is a bitch, but she's not your nemesis. She's not your friend with benefits. She's not some psychodrama chick. She didn't give you syphilis for being a misogynist. She doesn't own a shit list, but if she does, we're all on it. Here's what karma is. It's a live cat killing rats. It's a pack of rats eating a dead cat. The rats don't think vengeance tastes sweet. Those hungry rodents need to eat. And if you kick a porcupine, your pain is not some cosmic sign. That is called stupidity, because karmically, you're fine. For the gods of hitchhiking and weed are as real as some people believe, because when you're dry or need a ride, you think about some other time you helped somebody just like you, and suddenly someone comes through to smoke you up, to pick you up or smoke you out. That's coincidence, no doubt, but don't get me wrong, the path that we walk down is long. And if all those churchy people lied for wealth or health or genocide, then every time one of us dies, just call it karma for our lives.
Right on, man. It's pretty good to pull that off the top of your head.
Yeah, I might have missed a few lines, but I remembered more than I thought I would.
Yeah, is that from one of your books?
That, if it's in any of my books, it's in my first one, called Punk's Not Nice, which I do not recommend anyone gets. I've come a long way in formatting and sizing and making books look good since then. But if it's published anywhere, that's where it would be.
Speaking of your books, why don't talk a little bit about some of the collections you have out personally and where people can find those.
Oh, Jay mentioned really quickly earlier when I was testing out Lulu, the Philanthropist Suicide, and that's about a guy who inherited billions of dollars, and he spent his whole life just trying to piss it all away. And that's through Alien Buddha Press. You can find that one on Lulu. I also released a novel through Cajun Mutt Press, another really good small press, by the way. James Dennis Casey is doing great things there. It's called Hate, and it's a fiction novel about a ragtag group of dirty homeless kids in San Francisco who meet their demise over a period of days.
Very cool. Yeah, James doing some good stuff there with Cajun Mutt. He came on the show and read one day. I need to get him on as a guest, talk about his press. What other collections do you have available? I have 36 haikus and a horror story. That's exactly what it sounds like. It is 36 haikus and a horror story, hence the title. And Duffy Street and Other Dubious Incidences, which is a collection of short stories that I have put out. And the four I mentioned are the four that I would like to promote. And an American Antihero, which was a group effort. But that's me. Okay, cool. I guess all those can be found on Amazon or. Amazon, yeah. Aside from the Philanthropists, which was on Lulu, Duffy Street and American Antihero and Hate, those are all on Amazon. Okay. Right on, Jay. Want to talk about some of your personal work?
Yeah. So I think it was late 2016. I put out a novelette called Bulls in a China Shop. That's on Amazon. Then I followed that up with Alien Buddha Comes to Jesus with Jeff Filipsky on the artwork, also on Amazon. And I think that's really about it, except for also all the different collections that I've been in on Alien Buddha Press. And right now I am almost finished with a post-apocalyptic story. It's going to be a novella called Photos of the Apocalypse. And just started working on what I hope will be a novel. It's going to be called Pisshead. And then also soon in the very near future, I'm thinking about working on a compilation where I'll take some of my old stuff and never before published stuff, and obviously new stuff, maybe even Bulls in a China Shop and Alien Buddha Comes to Jesus, kind of just roll everything up, kind of a compilation of everything that I've done up to this point and get that out there. So that would be both. That would be both like the novelette, other fiction, a lot of poetry, maybe even some photography collections at some point too.
We're talking about your photography. What are you looking for in a shot? And like, where are some of the places that you've taken some of your best photography to this point, or a memorable experience like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I started doing it in the Vegas area, but it wasn't in the city. It was a lot of the waterways out there, Colorado. There's actually some nice spots in nature in that area, Lake Mead, Colorado River, a lot of cool hiking spots in the desert. They have way better sunrises and sunsets out there. So that was probably kind of where I got my start, did a lot of that. But, as far as what I'm looking for, it's probably not that specific. I'd have to see it in order to know.
Right.
But I started doing a lot of graffiti out there too, a lot of street art. In downtown Vegas, they actually have a lot of areas that are censored. So you've got a lot of street artists that were allowed to put up their stuff on the streets and on buildings. So I really got into that. And moving back to Buffalo at this point, there's a lot of abandoned railways. There's a lot of graffiti. So there's a lot of urban, kind of like more urban landscapes that I think I've gotten into since being back here.
Did you live in Vegas for a while, or just traveling through there?
About 15 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
You involved with the casinos there, working there or anything?
No.
How deep in the depravity of Vegas did you get?
Quite a bit. In fact, that's gonna be probably one of the biggest impetuses for Pisshead, the novel.
Okay.
So Pisshead is gonna be kind of a combination nonfiction and fiction story. Where I'm thinking about taking it, I already wrote a prologue to it and posted that on Facebook, which was based verbatim, believe it or not, from like a 48-hour period over this one weekend of mine in Vegas. But I'm thinking down the road, as I get more and more into this story, I'm thinking about taking it into some interesting directions that will be not based on reality.
Right on.
Yeah.
Creative fiction, as they say.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's like one of the funnest things about fiction. You can surprise yourself sometimes where your story goes.
Absolutely.
Two of my books, I found a way they just kind of intersected with each other. Two of my fiction books, I was just like writing the second one, not even thinking that I wanted to connect them in any way, and then I came to a chapter where I said, well, what do I do now? And then it just kind of worked really fluidly, and it was just really organic. And so, they each stand alone on their own, but, they connect to each other. And that's what's fun about fiction. You surprise yourself,
Well, yeah, and kind of like a little Easter egg for people that have read both, to be able to find those characters again.
Right.
Well, we're going to keep talking here with Jay Miner and Red Focks, but I also wanted to open up the phone lines if there's any Alien Buddha Press authors out there or anyone in general that might want to call in and read some of your work. The number here is 646-668-8757. That's 646-668-8757. You can call in and read some work, or if you've got questions for Jay or Red, that'd be great too. So just give us a ring here. So yeah, the future. Was there, when you were first putting Alien Budapest together, what was the genesis of the mantra behind it, or was there any sort of ultimate goal that was being strived toward that you're still pressing toward?
I like to publish the type of stuff that makes you feel something. There's a lot of poetry out there where people will write about a tree, or they'll write about the sky or the ocean. That's pretty, but I'd rather see a painting about a tree or a sky or the ocean. I like hearing about real things that real people are dealing with and perspectives. I like fringe type stuff, outsider material, and I guess that's something for Alien Budapest I'd like to do. Outsider stuff, weird stuff.
Right on, bringing it from the fringes into the mainstream. I dig it. That's well, God, there's just so many good writers out there too. Everyone doing their thing. It's been, I've got a lot of Alien Budapest books here on my shelf. So many different styles. From Dustin Pickering put out a great book through you guys, the Alderman Spurious Conversations.
With Jim Morrison, yeah, and that sparked a series. Yeah. That sparked the Spurious Conversations series. I worked with Dustin on, I think, 4 more of those. We did Jim Morrison, and then Dolores O'Riordan from the Cranberries, and George Carlin, and Charlie Manson, and Muhammad Ali, and Stephen Hawking. So, yeah.
All right, we got a caller here from a 717 area code, going to bring online. You there, caller?
Yes. Hello. It is. I'm Heather Brower. I mean Heath Brocker. Sorry.
It's Heath Brower. Oh, what's up, Heath?
What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's great to hear your voice, man.
Yeah. It's good to talk to you. Scott had mentioned that he was going to have a little portion for reading, so I thought I'd call in and read 2 of the poems from About Consciousness, which was published by Alien Budapest.
All right.
But the show has been great so far. I've learned a lot about how these guys came together and how it all started and whatnot. So that was I'm really glad I got to hear that.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for listening and calling in, my friend. So.
Yes, thank you. Do you want me just to get to the poems here quickly and then get to the next person?
No, don't have to move quickly, man. Just take your time. If you got a couple pieces there you want to read.
Yeah, I have 2 poems that I was going to read. From a book called About Consciousness, which was published by Alien Budapest.
One of the first titles we put out. Definitely in the first few months of
yeah. Because I remember you published one by Felino Soriano and then one by Catfish McDarris, and I think then I'm listed normally right above it, like in between them, when I look at your catalog and whatnot. But
right.
I'll
give
this
good
first
names
one
to be in between there.
Yeah. This is my personal favorite from this book. It's titled "Questioning My Own Truths." In the midst of their omnipresent mainstream thought, their abstract order of mindless falsity, which defines, instructs, and orders their personalities and opinions, I, unlatched from the pestilent river of loops in my distant world of epiphany and truth, which comes at the expense of isolation and suffering, sometimes catch myself wondering if, in some strange way, I am silently and subconsciously calling out for their help. I've got to lean into and fully feel the necessity of possible truth, no matter how much it hurts, else all is lost.
Right on.
That's the first one. The other one. Don't worry. Sal will be over in a second. I'm joking. The second one is titled Bandwagon. How many have metaphorically experienced the mall of America? How many have had it brought right to their doorsteps like bloodthirsty newspapers? Man-made money, the greatest illusion and scar of reality, divorced from the true universal realities. You get enough people piled into that bandwagon, and a man-made reality begins to take hold until it totally seeps into every crevice and becomes real in the phoniest way any man-made reality can become real. The people who have bought into it run their lives, skin and muscles and bones, around the clock to conform to this ersatz reality, and now you've got people hooked, their hearts beating in electrical uniformity with that mainstream thought. This is natural selection out of whack, turned brittle and nearly pulverized. Oligarchy and monarchy floating in the air of suburbia, of Palm Beach, of the ghetto. Everyone chasing a green piece of paper that carries with it an abstract, unnatural meaning placed there by the populace.
Right on.
And also one thing I want to say is that I think it was Red who was mentioning that I'm having kind of trouble telling your voices apart at times, and you kind of sounded like the two of you. But Red, I think you said that I was one of the first you published there.
Yes.
And I see. I could have. I had so many other books that are much more like in the vein of Alien Budapest, but I kind of tried to play it. I didn't know you were as edgy as you were at the time, or else I could have. I kind of feel like I could have gotten you a much better book than I did.
Oh, you know what? It being one of our first books, I also probably could. It's an 8.5 by 11 size, right? We don't, for tech books, we really don't do that size anymore. We do 6 by 9 right now. So looking back on that title, that's one thing. Right off the bat, I would have done differently. I would have made that a 6 by 9.
I kind of like it. I kind of like because all my other books are that size, the regular size, and I like having a big book like that. So
cool.
It worked out.
Cool. Yeah, and I was lucky that you put my art on there too.
Yeah, your art. Yeah, your art. Every single. There's 5 or 6 pieces of your art in that book as well. Yeah.
In the book, and then the cover, it's a piece that spans from the front to the back of it.
Yeah. That was really cool too. I like that because I actually didn't know that that's how it would turn out. And I'm really glad that it turned out that way because it looked way better just with the half, like the bottom quarter of it, than the entire the entire piece of art. I thought, wow, it looks even cooler that way. So it's like
cool.
Another thing that worked out.
Well, that spiraling piece of art that Red did, I mean, that ties right into your spiralism poetry anyway.
Yeah, but I was thinking at the time, I don't have damn spirals in my books. I got to stop putting so many spirals in my books. It's time to put an end to. That's what I did with my newest one. No more spirals for a while.
You got any projects you want to talk about while you're on the line, Heath? You mentioned Into the Void Press. What's going on with them?
Into the Void Press has a new issue coming out. I just saw the new cover art for it. It's definitely different, let's say, than our previous cover artwork. But this particular issue will have the 3 winners of the fiction prize. One of them being a 17-year-old girl who's never been published before. So that when I saw that, I was real happy about that. You know, her first publication being, Within the Void, because we read blind and kind of push for that.
Very cool. Congratulations on that next issue. I'm sure it's going to be another amazing piece of work. Everything y'all put out is.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And is that a reoccurring publication?
Into the Void. It's a quarterly magazine.
Do you take submissions?
Yeah. We read blind and we get hammered. Ever since we won back-to-back Saboteur Awards in 2017, 2018, and ever since that first Saboteur Award, we get slammed with submissions to the point where we've had to. We used to have 3-month reading periods. We reduced that to 1 month, and reduced the amount of poems you can submit from 5 to 4, which isn't that much help. But I mean, when the month of reading periods is when I go on stay awake 3 days, then sleep 8 hours, then stay awake 3 days. So yeah, it's tiring, but I read every single word of every last poem submitted, so everyone has a fair chance.
What stage are you at right now as far as the awake and asleep for 3 days goes?
I didn't sleep last night, even though I could have slept last night. I am pretty sleepy right now. Normally I would have gone to bed at probably around 8 o'clock, but only one night sleep deprived right now, so I'm
only one.
Insane. Yeah, and I could have slept last night, but if I wanted to, but I just decided screw it. But it's really good to talk to both you guys, and kudos and good luck with this new Rust Belt press that you're starting.
Well, Jay would say thank you. He just to mention here to the listeners, Jay had said that he might have to drop out after the first hour, and so he did leave just a couple minutes ago, but sure he's probably still listening. Yeah.
Okay. Well, kudos to that. And the zine, the new zine is amazing. I have the first issue of it. It's really beautifully done and like top notch. I was totally blown away by how amazing it was. And
I think I heard you might have mentioned that was like your fiction publication. It was like one of your first fiction publications.
In issue 2, that's coming out as this. This thing I wrote when I got out of the hospital. I was in the intensive care unit for 14 days, and I got out. I wrote this. It's actually kind of a hybrid thing. It's not really I realized I forgot it was more of a hybrid thing than a flash fiction, but it's like part nonfiction, part fiction. It's just me reacting to the quality of care I receive.
Right. Classifying fiction and because that's why most fiction has when someone's writing a fiction piece, some of it usually has some truth or some real events in it. So when you wrote that, was flash fiction even a term? Because I see people label something flash fiction sometimes, and I'll be like, what classifies that?
I never heard of flash fiction or hybrid writing. This is right before I started submitting. Probably about 3-4 months before I started submitting. And I didn't know what hybrid was. I didn't know what flash fiction was. And it was just something, me just kind of messing around, just writing,
Right. You'll get a page and...
The flash fiction, as far as I understand it, is usually 1,000 words or less, or 500 words and less, depending on I think it's just basically a word count type of
Okay. I've seen it as small as a sentence. People have sent me, hey, I got some flash fiction here, and they'll be like one-sentence stories.
I guess just kind of that quick burst or flash. So I guess it's whatever any journal wants to classify it as on the word count.
Right.
All right, Heath, thank you for calling in and joining us. Stay on the line if you want and keep talking to the next people that come on. I'm going to bring someone on from area code 678 now that's been waiting for a couple minutes. Is the caller there from 678?
Hey, it's Honey.
Hey, Honey. Honey's Webel.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi.
Good. How are you?
Awesome. I've really been enjoying listening to the show and everybody talking and reading. It's pretty cool to hear the voices of people you really only talk to on the internet.
Exactly.
Okay, can I just to clarify, is this Honey's Weibel Butler?
Yes.
Okay, I've been pronouncing the C the whole time. I thought it was Channy.
Everybody does. It's all good.
Damn, Heather Brower.
We got Brower and Chani here. Honey, you published a book with Alien Buddha as well, right?
I did. It's actually my first published book, Cave Dreams to Star Portals, and those guys are really cool. They seem to be really receptive of my kind of weirdness, so I like that. That's nice. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you. That was had a lot of fun on that one. There was something with the cover. It was a friend of yours drew that or something?
Yeah, my sister is an incredible artist. I have to brag on her. And she does abstract painting. She does drawings and paintings of, realistic-looking things. But that was one she painted, and then I wrote a poem about it. And so that poem was in this collection, and I just wanted that to be on the front cover, so.
All right, well, the color scheme really sets the mood.
Yeah, World of Fire. I could read that one. It's in here.
Do it.
See if I can read it.
Well, yeah, getting to what Hani was saying, when Red and Jay came on the show here, I didn't introduce them separately. They're Red, so it took me just a minute to figure out which one was which, who I was talking to. It all fell into place.
All right, sweet. I found it. This poem is called Dreams in a World of Fire. I guess it's okay if I read this now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Okay, here it goes. On the other side of time is a city made of fire. You can get there through a red door. On the top floor of the house made of fire is a canvas on a yellow easel where a painter is painting a green field. For in a world of fire, they dream of verdant pastures. Outside, a red sun is rising into the empty waiting arms of a red tree. An old woman with a pair of blue wings on her back is reading a book about whales. For in a world of fire, they dream of azure oceans. Next to the door is a golden angel with a fishhook in its talons. Water may be a dream, but it guards against any beastie that might rise from the depths. Upstairs, past the artist's studio, is a room with a red balcony where nobody goes, and only blue shadows bake upon the burning walls. For in a world of fire, they dream of cobalt dusks.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
You have a second piece you'd like to read, Honey?
Yeah, sure. I can read these ones that there's two of them, and they are the poems that I got the idea for the name of the chapbook. I just was listening to a lot of David Bowie and Jimi Hendrix, and had a dictionary in my hands and was flipping through it and just catching words and then writing off those words. So it evolved into these two poems. This is called Dimension. In another dimension just next to ours, beyond the stars, exists a weird world that strange creatures populate, and here we'll play. Come to me upon the battlements, or seek my chamber door. Vainglorious villains utter useless usury, a tiny cell in the tissue of organisms, sealed until further notice. Practice the unclear vision for utopia. The totality of all existing things is harmony. You'll find it under the stairs. You'll find it rare and unlooked for. You'll find it in transmitted messages. Star children merge your modern age into unraveled DNA. They give it unspeakable names. They want you to know it's over. They sing about better future, not ready for social change. Don't mention it. Unlettered, unliberated, unleash your horde. What is here today is dust tomorrow. What stars burn now live in your blood tomorrow. What unplumbed depths are feared this moment become suburbia tomorrow. Coupling of unofficial visionaries brings unshakable unity. Give us your latest version of events. We seek you, holy liars. Speak out, wasted dreamers. Unprecedented since the rise of ages. Offer splendor, unloose higher learning. And then cave. Stammer,
Awesome.
stammer, shedding stalactites, sleeping next to stalagmites, deep in a cavern, hidden from visitors, but a cavity of cave, a circle of open sky. See? Will not be stamped out by the stalemate of our forebears. From our concealed location, let us give you the final report. Once outside the solar system, whose mode of existence is surprise, hears rain drill staccato on the rock walls, becomes the stark statuary of the next generation's gods, halts in hardness, but begins in a whole people of dignity, gazing fixedly at the bow of a new vessel.
Lovely.
That's it. Thank you.
It's awesome.
Thank you for calling in, honey.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Pleasure to talk to you tonight, and I hope you have an awesome evening ahead.
It's great to finally talk to you in person. Once
Yes,
been
you
friends,
too.
That's Heath. That's Heath Brower.
Rocker, yeah.
Sorry, I'm mixing up your voices too.
Yeah, all of you guys are
like,
real cool.
I believe the first book that you were a part of with Alien Buddha Press was actually the Dolores book, though, right?
Oh, you know what? I forgot that was y'all. Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That was Dustin came through. It's how you got introduced to the network, I believe. The Alien Buddha Press. Like I was saying earlier, the Spurious Conversations series. Dustin really wanted to do one for Dolores, and Johnny came on, and Honey came on. Wrote a chapter, and it really helped tie the whole thing together.
That's awesome. It's Scott that really introduced me to all of these people, Dustin and y'all and everybody in the kind of internet coagulation that's happening. So I owe him a lot. Thank you.
Oh, well, of course. I mean, that's what it's all about. Artists meeting artists and being inspired and inspiring each other. So. Yeah.
If you guys want to do a reading in Georgia, that would be sweet.
Cool.
Yeah, I keep.
I second that.
I've been invited a couple of times. I just haven't been able to until I get down there. I'd love to do one in Georgia sometime.
Yeah.
Well, you're in Atlanta, right, Scott?
Yeah. I've read alongside Hani several times, different events. We should work something out. Figure something out.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Get Alien Buddha here.
That would actually be really great. Yeah. If there's a venue or something that would put that together, that would be awesome.
Well, actually, I wasn't going to talk about it, but I'm working to put something together. I was kind of going to keep it under my hat, but hopefully that will be all the bugs will be worked out of it, hopefully in March. So we'll revisit that question for venue.
Fantastic.
All right, I'm going to let somebody else have some airtime. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, honey.
Okay,
have a good night.
Bye. You too. Bye.
I'm going to go too, so good night, everyone.
All right, Heath. Thank you for coming on, my friend. Talk to you later.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Red, great to talk to you. And Jay, if you're listening, great to talk to you as well. And thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Heath.
All right, sure thing. Talk to you too soon. All right, cool. Bye.
All right, my friend. Talk to you later. All right, we got 4 more people waiting on the line to come on here. Let's see, we've got area code 336. Are you there, caller? From 336.
36.
Hey, yeah, what's going on?
Hey.
Can you hear me?
This is Kevin? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, this is the Wolf.
Hey, Kevin, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing good.
Kevin, I'm sorry, we've got a few Kevins.
Oh, yeah, Kevin.
Kevin Martin?
Kevin Martin, how's it going?
The Wolf.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm
You all rambling tonight?
No, man, I'm finishing up my first book that's going to be released through Alien Buddha Press. And I'm doing a final edit of it, and I've got a few lines I could do, maybe a couple poems out of it if anyone's interested.
Hell yeah, that is the purpose. I'd love to hear it.
Angels smell like oak barrels, old smoke and charred. From inside comes hope. A new dream. She smells of peanut butter after sex. She talks in sleep. Old dreams forgotten, names written, angels' wings. Smooth shoulders, surrounded, cold steel, concrete suffering madness. Art is visceral life unfolding. Beautifully, rust falls from the ceiling of my soul. Splintered heavenly glory out of reach. Blow to the temples, a lump of enlightenment. Mix of bad blood, good intentions. I was outside smoking pot when you came through. Truly sorry, didn't see you face to face. These bones do not believe my knife is sharp. Show me your kerosene veins. Will show you the truth of my words, drafted by blood. Words turned to stone cannot feed nations at the table of the Lord. America, keep a pint of whiskey in my back pocket. Secret dreams are filled with nothing but blues. Sing out loud. Silent sometimes, nations fall. Eyes bleak abandonment. Dollars are for wedding song roses. Blackened, sunburnt moon. Someone loves you. Ready to die, clean, immaculate. Scapegoat in style soon. Alive on the edge of a razor. God's tongues never make a sound. Once there was a paradigm shift where mother's milk spilled blood, which leads into today's phallic empire. No longer pagan, one God is enough as we all die alone. This room I sit is flooded full of decaying matter inside. Your mind is hot dreams, still cold. I dropped my pen into this muck, got lead belly bone, black-eyed blues. She says fuck yes when entering the room, wants to see it now. Rises in own special language, sips slowly, sings softly. Anything should notice her dreams. Movies every day, showing behind clouds of eyes that are seen staring back at me. His ghost that moves my picture on the wall wants to touch your lotus. Remember good words died slowly the Sunday morning at first light, as always, the way death walks sideways down the street. Looks in windows and makes sure you're watching TV, worshiping one God. Microwave your dinners, let kids eat M&Ms and drink Coca-Cola beside pyramids. Walk to the store, which is the valley of death in the lower 48. And she is a secret dressed in shadow. Dust me with your ashes. Broken down tears at midnight, I taste you as the big star falls west. Grinds me to dust. Write my name with desolation in mind. behind the clouds of eyes staring back as she rides languid, her own special language. Her rain brings different thunder, angels looking down on shaky ground, 18 white horses covered lightly with soil, caught upon angels in snow. Falling thunder gently, these blues find trouble. Pain uses every bit of saliva, already tamed, she walked empty, forest, naked, oblivion. Forget to put the beer in the fridge. I left my backpack covered in snow outside. Still cold on the back porch. She reminds me that Hollywood is always warm. As she's sitting coolly, legs crossed, rubbing each other, scissors on my lap, fallen, would sit with you if could only wake up from the stream. She laughs as I cough, tries my soul, tells me she sharpens her teeth on bones of old lovers, my bones stacked neatly to devour forever, rolls off my tongue like words of love, words of hate seem to fall from the sky.
Damn. That's amazing, man. Your words are so powerful. Like you're ripping them up out of the womb of the earth or something.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
That's where I've got
it read so very well, too.
Thank you. Like I said, I've been trying to work on this kind of thing, and coming soon, Alien Buddha Press.
Yeah, you showed me the cover. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, like madness cover. It was just like some glitch art or something, right?
As Red said, it's gonna pop.
Yeah,
it's gonna pop, and that's what I'm hoping to do, man. You know what I mean? It's my first book, and I'm sort of laboring over it, and which I think that's here. I can read another one if you want me to. It's called Muse's Exile. She was mad again at me wanting to leave. She told me I wasn't shit without her. I said I'm not shit either way. What's a muse without the artist? The Punisher knew I didn't want her to go. She turned around, bent forward, gyrated her hips, slow flower, blooming in orbit. The sun with her left hand counterclockwise circles her ass cheek. Hypnotic visions. She stands up, crisp attention. I'm holding broken trances. Her right hand, she smacks her other ass cheek hard, winks, walks out without a word.
Erotic.
Very good stuff, Kevin.
Man, I appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Kevin. I'm looking forward to getting that final manuscript and putting this together with you. That's some wonderful writing right there.
Absolutely, man. I'm almost done, and I'm going to let the next person in line on the phone have their chance. I appreciate it, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for calling in, Kevin. Hope to talk to you again soon.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, my friend.
Absolutely.
All right. We got another caller on the line here from a 502 area call. 502, are you there?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, this is Levi Dunn.
Hi, Levi.
Hey.
Calling in. How you doing tonight?
I appreciate I'm doing good.
Right on. Yeah, man, we're just
Levi Dunn was a part of Masks Are Still Not Enough, and I believe he was also in the zine number 2.
Zine number 1, but yeah.
Zine number 1, okay.
Yeah, which I'm super stoked to be a part of it. I mean, I think it's the coolest press that I've even never heard of, let alone to be a part of it. It's just crazy to me.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm gonna read some stuff. But yeah, so the first thing I'm gonna read is from a really long time ago. It came out in 2015 in a small little university press. It's called Sin, Sweat, and Blackest Magic. And I wrote it after a really wild camping trip where I was introduced to LSD, and it was great.
All right.
So, yeah. And so, here we go. Standing nightmares tragic. Hoodoo, Santeria, soul sold for new names, altar and a theme untame. Lust, love, and glamoured poems, rust doves, and enchanted tomes, flaws hymns, spirits rise, servants, skulls set in stones for dead games, touching lips metal and flesh arcane, hearts beat like poetry and subtle addiction, an unexpected disease refusing remission. We have asked forgiveness, but not permission. Masculine arms inked with flora grapple, as softly I kiss her Adam's apple.
All right. We knew we'd work LSD or DMT into the show somehow at some point.
It's true. It always happens. This is another one that came out, and it is from that same university press, just 2 years later, and it's called Crawls, and it's like my love poem to like Midwestern poetry, but also like H.P. Lovecraft.
Okay.
It crawls. Flesh slouches closer. Great gibber, wailing mutterer, do you lament, it asks, thousand gurgled mouths and throats, million minds gorged and throned on amalgam zenith. Why did you steal away, it asks, was I too vulgar and crass? The grass waves carry me to the crouching cabin shores. I clutch the window and refuse to let go. A couple inches more, climbing with slobbering gasp, I press against the window. Unworldly monstrosity in firelit glass. Tears, pitch, gray-skinned patchwork with cellophonic bite, latch and leash. I draw closer to 1,000 gnashing teeth that speak and shrieks. This rushing, crushing thing which my mind cannot comprehend. My mind won't race to make a split. It's too sicky. I feel too sick. You're with me in the cabin in the woods of brick. I am shaking too bad to lift the fire axe, and I cannot help but deny what you ask. I don't even know why I abandoned you. Feeble and worthless, my words are harmless. You break them always. Hideous formlessness which slouches on flatworm flesh. Great pusillanimous lips wrap around my hips, and I start to slip. Window I relinquish, and into the patchwork memorial I drift, and all my stalling is for naught, for I too shall crawl before I walk.
All right. Thank you, Levi. Is there, appreciate you reading those tonight. Is there anywhere you'd like to promote that people can find your more of your work at?
I'm hoping to keep publishing through Alien Buddha Press, but I also have a website called LeviCDunn.com where a bunch of my stuff is, as well as links to various things. Okay, cool. People check out LeviCDunn.com. Well, thanks for calling in this evening. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right. Nice talking to you, Levi. You too. And we're going to go now to area code 602. Area code 602. Are you there?
Hey there, yeah.
All right. Thanks for calling in. Who are we talking to?
My name's Austin Davis.
Austin. All right. Thanks for calling in,
Austin Davis. You were in my email today, I believe.
yeah, definitely, yeah.
And I noticed the 602, you're in Arizona, huh?
Yep, out here in, well, not really in the heat right now, but, you know, in the summer it's pretty hot.
It's pretty nice out right now.
Oh, beautiful, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I just wanted to, I actually don't have a book out by Alien Buddha Press, but I just got a poem accepted by their the anthology, This One Time the Alien Buddha Got So High, and I just want to read that poem.
Okay.
I'm really excited for that anthology. All right, that poem's called All Night Long. I'm 8 drinks in, spooning the salad bowl below my face, watching my model train chug along by the light of the moon. I throw up for the 3rd time as the orange headlight starts to look almost nostalgic, pulling the train with its tiny engineer through imaginary snowstorms and past jazz bars and 50s diners clouded with yellow smoke. It's that time of the night again where I'm too anxious to be drunk and more sad than sober. So I sit in the moonlight and watch the plastic people in the passenger cars pour their tea into those little cups that can never hold anything and talk about the war behind plastic newspapers that don't have any words as their train follows the tracks in a perfect circle all night long.
Right on.
It was, really cathartic. I read that just a few hours ago, and then I got to hear it from the man himself.
Well, thank you very much.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, Austin. And, I'm definitely looking forward to that anthology as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have anywhere that you'd like to send people to read more of your work?
Definitely, yeah. I actually have a new book that just came out from Moran Press called Second Civil War. And it's all political poetry, and I'm really getting into the student activist role right now, and I read some poetry at the March for Our Lives event, and I'm really getting into that, so this is kind of my product of that.
Very cool, and that's through Moran Press, you said?
Yep, through Moran Press.
Okay, cool. Hope people go and check that out as well. Thank
awesome.
you for
thank you guys very much.
joining us tonight.
Awesome. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Austin.
Okay, and we're going to move on to area code 814 at this point. Area code 814, are you there?
Yeah, hey, Scott, it's Matt Porzon. How you doing?
Hey.
Doing great, man. How are you?
I'm good. How's it going, guys?
Doing great,
well,
Matt.
Good.
Having a good
Thought I'd
response
call
to
in
our
and say,
show.
hey. Yeah, I've been listening for a while. Been some great stuff being read. Great to hear Kevin read again. You know, I saw him last time I was down in Pittsburgh. He's great and really good. A lot of good music, good stuff coming through today.
Yeah, cool, man. I just actually got your book from Cajun Mutt in the mail.
Oh, nice.
Last week, yeah. So I'm about to start digging into that one.
Oh, cool. Nice. Thanks. I appreciate it. I'm sure James does as well. Yeah, I thought I would read. I thought I would read the one I have in the new Alien Buddha anthology, maybe. If
cool.
That's all right.
Awesome. The zine.
Yeah, the one that just came out.
Cool.
It's called Tarantula. I wrote it for a friend of mine. I never think about your death, how you hung yourself in Florida over a girl. Instead, I always remember the day I watched you feed a baby mouse to your huge pet tarantula. You climbed a plastic tree and dropped on the mouse, closing its hairy arms around its terrified body. You said it would stay like that for days, slowly drinking all its blood. When you said you loved that spider, I should have known how vulnerable your heart was.
Wow.
Very powerful.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's I got that one in there, and otherwise I'm just staying busy. How are you guys doing? How is everything else going tonight?
Man,
having a great
going
time.
well. Yeah.
Nice.
Been looking forward to doing this show for a long time. I was hoping that some of the ABP authors would call in. This has been one of the best receptions to any show I've done so far. So.
Oh, good.
Cool.
Well, you know, we're a pretty close knit group actually in our own weird way. We turn up for most everything we're doing, so that's always kind of nice. You know,
I had a great time working with you on the Prison Blues, Code 3, the Prison Blues. That was that's a really unique title. Each poem is about when Matt was working as a prison guard.
Wow.
Yeah, I like that book. Thank you.
Yeah, I love the perspective on that.
Yeah, and I'm working on one with Marcel right now to come out with you guys pretty soon. My Ghost Highway Blues book is finally going to see the light of day. We're trying to wrap that up right now, and then I sent Jay some stuff. I'm trying to work with him a little too, so staying kind of busy, trying to write about my hometown. Yeah.
Nice. You got any readings coming up there in Erie? You gonna be at?
You know, I'm gonna do a book release for in the years after the war pretty soon. I gotta pick a date for it, but I'm gonna do it up here on our usual poetry meetings on Tuesday nights. And I'm doing something with the poet laureate in Erie is doing a big symposium on poetry as therapy, and he's asked me to read at that coming up, I think, in March.
Oh,
and then we have a weekly reading. We have a weekly reading we hit. I got some stuff coming up in Pittsburgh around Veterans Day. I do a reading down at Hemingway's this year. I got some things going on, you know. I'm mostly just trying to write, trying to stay busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, man, your work is always powerful, poignant, gets right to the heart of matters, and
absolutely
punches you in the guts or lifts you up.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
And
I think
thanks,
so,
Matt.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, looking forward to getting you on for a full interview here soon, Matt.
Yeah, cool. That'll be great. All right, well, yeah, I just wanted to read that one and say, hey, wish you guys well. Say glad I got a chance to listen. It's been a lot of fun. So you guys have a good night, and I'll talk to y'all later.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt.
Appreciate it, Matt.
Sure thing. All right, take it easy, guys. Bye.
Take care. All right, and we've got one more caller on the line here at another 717 area code. This is 717. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Who are we talking to?
This is Mila Bluest.
Oh, hey, Mila. Thank you for calling.
Hey. Good. How are you, Scott?
Doing great. High on adrenaline right now. This has been a fun show.
I hear you, yeah. Some of the artists that came previously were, like, just absolutely mind-blowing.
Awesome. Thanks for listening tonight and calling in. Would you like to share a couple of your poems?
Yeah, I have a couple pieces that I'll read. This first one is called Rattle. I gather this eroding bone dust and pour it in front of my feet, that I have a path to walk on, as I've always seen blackness where the ground should be. How it all fell away the first time the razor split my skin and the red trickled out. How something so tied to losing life could make me feel so alive. Once I got into my car and drove to work where white shirts walked around with scissors cutting words from my tongue. And when I left, there was a dead baby mouse on the passenger seat. Buckle up, I said. I had held death before. My first husband watched pay-per-view while it poured from between my legs in a hotel bathtub, twice in 1 year. I could have picked names, but instead they were just blood. Goodbye, I said. Death found me here a lifetime later, told me his name and how lonely it was, but of course I knew. And I held him close. I love you, I said. Each way in which the pain and darkness of death touched my life seemed so graceful. Ink-black vultures roosting in the winter pines above my house, the dance of waiting. Last week, sun glinted off the pavement as I drove my little girl to school. There was a dead baby deer in the road, a symphony of vultures picking it apart. As my car rattled toward them, they scattered, one just above us, right above the windshield, 9-foot wingspan, gliding in a silent union with my car. Bloody face. How he recognized me through the glass.
Wow.
That was deep.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks. I actually have another one that I'll read too, if that's okay, if you have time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Please do.
Okay. It's called Yes, Girls. In steel country, in coal country, Daddy drove a truck and Mama prayed. Good girls laid on their backs. We crushed our wings. We let the machete of a slick man's voice clear-cut the thicket of our wombs. We let the wet, slick cries of a hungry thing slowly drain the fire from our marrow. When we're in the throes, we're yes girls. Hitched up counter height now in a fuck-me skirt, whispering God's plan to silence the tempest metastasizing in my Barbie doll heart. How many Hail Marys before the grunting stops? Oil-stained fingers circling where the wings used to be. Whiskey breath, the dirge of hollow childhood dreams, blood blooming down my thighs. Bruises are the new black. When we're in the throes, we're yes girls.
Wow. Your work is, I say something similar to what I said about Kevin Martin's earlier. It's just always powerful and visceral. It's just,
I was about to say visceral. Yeah. Yeah.
I've actually gotten that word a lot. It's really cool, too, that you mentioned Kevin, because he's actually a pretty good friend of mine, and we share work pretty often. So, that's, listening to him read was definitely visceral as well.
Yeah, both of y'all are not only great writers, but you presented your poems excellently as well.
Thank you.
Any projects that you have going on right now you want to talk about, or recent publications maybe?
Slowly working on a chapbook. I don't want to rush it because I feel like, that's not really the ultimate goal is to rush into publication. I'm really fairly a noob when it comes to publishing. I just started publishing in April, and I guess I'd never really tried before. And I just went at it with a vengeance. And I'll say in the last 9 months, I've probably been accepted like 36 times. So I've got some work coming out with Ink and Thirds. Just had some come out in Tilled. it's all on my website if you look up www.melablues.com. And
awesome. Yeah, highly recommend anyone go check that out. Your work is amazing.
Thanks. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's super cool to be on the show because literally everyone that's called, like, I'm friends with them on Facebook, and I'm familiar with their work and submitting to their journals. So it's just been a really awesome show.
Sweet. Thank you for listening. Yeah, this has been a fun one. It's a nice tight-knit community,
absolutely.
like Matt was saying.
Yep, that's a good thing. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for calling in, Mila. Have a good night ahead.
Absolutely. You as well. Peace.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right. That was an awesome little open mic segment there. That was the last caller.
Oh,
yeah, that worked out better than I could have imagined. Sweet. Thanks for hanging on here through it, Red. I guess
I had a great time. I've been slowly making my way through this bottle of Smirnoff as the show's been going on, and I've had a great time.
Sweet. I wish I should have been following that same plan. But, yeah, man. I actually have one more clip. I'll play it here in just a minute from Don Biequez, another of your authors. He's over in France, so probably asleep right now, but he made a clip reading a couple poems from his book. But I'll end the show with that before we go out. But before then, here in the last couple minutes, any final words of wisdom you'd like to leave us all with tonight, or just thoughts in general about Alien Buddha, or whatever the hell else is on your mind, drinking vodka right now?
Well, I just want to thank everyone who's helped make Alien Buddha what it is. Jay, who was on earlier, Ami, who's just done so much of our cover work, yourself, Scott, who's one of our first books that we ever published. There's been so many people, I'm not going to remember to mention everybody. Ryan Quinn Flanagan, just brilliant author. He's done a few with us. And Mark Hartenbach and Ron Androla and Willie Smith and just so many. I'd be sitting here all night listing names if I said everybody, but if you're listening and you've been a part of this, just thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Alien Buddha Press is becoming a who's who in the contemporary poetry scene. Y'all have done so many great books already. And
cool. This was great. I never did anything like this before. I had a great time.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming on, and I'll just have a good night ahead, and I'll be in touch soon.
You too.
All right,
night,
take care, Red. All right. Well, I just want to reiterate what Red had said there, and thank everyone who's been listening tonight. If you are out there and would like to appear as a guest for a full interview at some point, definitely get in contact with me about that. Connect with me on Facebook or Twitter or 17numa@gmail.com, and we can set up a time and a date and do an interview. So thank you once more to Jay Miner and Red Fox. Wish them all the best with Alien Buddha and Rust Belt Press. And thank you to Heath Brocker, Hani Sawabel, Kevin Martin, Levi Austin, Matt Borzon, and Mila Blust for joining us on the open mic. That was a hell of a good show, probably my favorite one so far. And I'm going to send us out with a clip that my friend Don Biequez cut with his poems from Icarus Rising. So good night, good evening, and take care, everyone. Here's Don.
Hi, Scott. Thanks for having me back on your award-winning show and a very important literary outlet once again for all of us, the silent voices. I think for the 2 slots you've given me, I'm going to read a poem from my Alien Buddha Press publication, Icarus Rising, Volume 1. And it's in collaboration with Shamik Lakay, and it's called the Ghetto Chronicles. born into inherited prophesied spiritual poverty and certain longevity, a soulless society welcomes yet another unplanned oddity, ignoring their declining moral depravity, whilst wicked whispers spread by toxic jealous vipers spit vicious raucous rumors of future man-made tumors able to infect an entire species, most heinously ignoring various opinions deliberately, turning a blind eye to gangster small fry, unable to prevent a freak wave of revolutionary societal anarchy, hoping to derail a politically engineered gravy train, halting historical elitist gain, going against the grain, ensuring relief of centuries of generational pain, shameful scarlet stain, preaching deliverance in vain, their conscience offering a foretold solution in the shape of a celestial confusion, misunderstood, bound by a judgmental neighborhood, unable to discern between what is evil and good, dismissing potential healing soul food, idly standing by whilst each believer casts their own stone eye to the obvious carnage around, failing to stop the deadly decline of a nation going blind, sudden realization mankind not that kind, hoping to finally find a chosen savior sent to miraculously heal disintegrating, devastating behavior, not denying personal faltering failure, the chokehold confession of each sinful act, bound by a crucifying chain reaction, born from man's fleeting earthly mansion, preventing, liberating escape of a people on their knees, hoping to find some spiritual release, even willing to listen to a ghetto Mary rapping of an unknown future, reciting forgotten scripture, trying to once again nurture against their nature a hope to be able to cope and release their self-imprisoned beautiful beast, yearning to be invited to the celebratory promised feast, obtain the eternal keys to at last experience everlasting peace. There you go. That's in collaboration with rising visual artist star Shamik Lekay from Bonteheuwel in Cape Town. My second one is in collaboration with internationally acclaimed South African artist Janelle Scholz, and it's called Rainbow Dancer. On Fuss, sitting here facing you, my audience unelected, I admit I am tired. I have been tried and tested, even emotionally, spiritually molested by some of your inherited ignorance. I confess I have lost my inner halo, my fiery glow due to your award-winning human freak show, in which I am still the star, hoping for social inclusion, fading illusion, igniting my confusion. Adagio. Yes, if I seem broken, it is just for a moment in this racial box you have imprisoned me, stereotyped me, exhibited me, ridiculed me, controlled me, mocked me. My feet are poised as I slowly feel my inner music guiding me, propelling me, soothing me, as they will become fluid again, to make me glide as I take control of my own destiny, finding my elected synergy to set me free. Batu, you think I am beaten, trampled on, maybe even unhinged? Well, think again. Your refusal to conform to societal change and acceptance of the norm will just further feed your murky inner storm. Boxes are for things to hide and store away, unseen in the dark. I refuse to continue to hide due to the color of my skin. Why can't a person of color be a prima ballerina, make a grand historical speech in a packed arena, love someone of another culture or sexual orientation? I am part of this human global nation. Pas de deux. Come, dance with me, and you might just see my many colors of reverie. Your words might cause an emotional red mist, but my blue joy will silence your mockingjay verbal vomit, as my yellow hope will blind you and make you forget to see me as a color. I forgive you. Come closer. I am the rainbow dancer. There you go. And thanks again for featuring me alongside all the other great poets of Alien Buddha Press, including yourself. And it's adieu from me. Goodbye, my friend. Speak soon. Bye. Thanks.